Everything is about to shift. And when it does, you'll finally understand why it took so damn long. I'm starting a countdown right now while your ears are on me. 48 hours. This isn't some promise for a hazy future. It's a doorway swinging open at this very second, and your name is carved into its frame. I'm not preparing you for something brand new. I'm uncovering what's always been yours. Stick with me to the end, because before this message wraps up, you're going to hear the name heaven gave you before you even took your first breath, and you're going to discover what that name gives you permission to leave behind forever. I know you woke up today lugging a question you can't even put into words. Let me tell you what I saw. I saw you bolt upright at 3 in the morning. Not because of noise, not because of a nightmare. Your body just snapped awake before your brain caught up, and you lay there, in the dark, staring at the ceiling, not knowing why you were up at that hour again. I saw you walk to the mirror early, before anyone else was up when the house was dead quiet. And I saw you scan your own face, searching for something. Not checking your hair, not checking for tiredness, looking for a face you actually recognized. Like the reflection belonged to someone you haven't fully met yet. I saw you watch other people move ahead, folks around you getting answers, grabbing seats, being called by name. You watched it all from the outside, like somebody peering through a window at a party they weren't invited to. And I saw the secret question rise up in your chest. What am I doing wrong? Why does it feel so much harder for me to figure out where I'm going? Why does it seem like everyone else got a manual and mine got lost before I was born? I saw your phone contacts list, packed with names, and I saw the truth you never tell anyone. You're hardly ever the first one they call. You get remembered later, invited last, reached for when nobody else is available, and you taught yourself to say it's fine. But I saw that it isn't. I saw that little pinch every time you realized, again, that you'd ended up at the end of someone's heartline. And I saw the night you tried to explain what was going on inside you to somebody. You gathered your courage. You opened your mouth. And when the words came out, they felt too small for the weight you were carrying. You seek. You dedicate yourself. You do everything right, and yet abundance never comes. And the worst part? You start wondering if you're doing something wrong, if you're being heard up above, if it's meant for you at all. It's not a lack of faith or worthiness. It's a spiritual blockage that ordinary prayer alone cannot break. The Miracle Journal unblocks this in 21 days with a spiritual protocol that works exactly where your prayer doesn't reach. Along with the journal, you'll also receive as a gift the prayer guide and the Psalms manual, with the most powerful sacred practices and texts to deepen your transformation. To claim your version of the journal, tap the link in the comments right below this video. They felt too small for the weight you were carrying, so you stopped trying, and you learned to keep it all locked up in silence. I want you to know something before anything else. The fact that you're still standing after all of this isn't small potatoes. It's proof that something inside you survived. Something that not even the confusion could snuff out. And before we go further, do one thing for yourself. Hit that like button now. The like is your public amen. It's heaven logging what you're confessing openly in front of everyone, that this word is for you. What you confess in front of others, I confirm in front of myself. Because what I'm about to hand you in this message rests on 3 promises. And I don't make promises I don't keep. Here's the first one. That hollow feeling of identity you've got, that sense of not really knowing who you are, it's not your screw-up. It's not a manufacturing defect. It's a reserved space. It's the exact spot where a name hasn't been spoken over you yet. The emptiness isn't absence. It's a placeholder. The second promise. Before this message ends, you're going to receive a simple roadmap. Just a few steps to quiet the noise and hear heaven name you within the next 48 hours. Not a theory. Not some pretty reflection that evaporates by tomorrow. A concrete protocol. Steps you can hold in the palm of your hand that you can start this very night before the sun comes up. And the third one. By the time this is over, you'll be able to say, with your chest firm, I know who I am. And you won't need anyone around you to confirm it, because when heaven names you, no voice on earth needs to sign off. I saw every single time you doubted you existed for something. I was right there each one of those times. And I never, not for 1 second, doubted. Now I want you to do something with me. Close your eyes if you can. If you can't, just look away from whatever's distracting you, because I'm going to show you signs. And these signs are already happening in your life. You've just been calling them by the wrong names. The first sign is the middle of the night wake up. Waking up over and over at the same hour for no reason, no alarm, no explanation. And the weirdest part, almost always the same time, like somebody scheduled a meeting with you and just forgot to tell you who it was. You called it insomnia. You called it stress. Too much coffee, a racing mind, anxiety about the next day. But listen to what it really is. It's your spirit being nudged awake to hear what your mind during the day makes too much noise to catch. The early morning is quiet for a reason. It's the hour I speak without competition, without the world's racket fighting for your attention. You don't have a sleep problem. You're being called into a room where only you and I fit. And every time you rolled over annoyed, wanting to go back to sleep, I was on the other side of the stillness, waiting. The second sign is the discomfort with the routine that used to be enough. The things that used to satisfy you suddenly feel small. The job, the plans, the places, the conversations, everything that worked before started to pinch like a shirt that shrunk in the wash. And you blamed yourself for it. You thought, I'm ungrateful. I should be happy. So many people would kill for what I have. And here I am, unsatisfied. You tried to force gratitude, and forced gratitude didn't loosen the squeeze. But listen close, because you judged yourself wrong. This isn't ingratitude, it's tuning. It's your insides being adjusted to a new level. The discomfort you feel is your soul growing bigger than your current box. Nobody feels cramped in a place they still fit. You got cramped because you grew. You're not broken, you're expanding. The third sign is feeling weird about your own reflection. That sensation, when you look at yourself, that there's more there than meets the eye. That the person in the mirror is carrying something that hasn't come out yet. Sometimes you even paused an extra second in front of the mirror, not knowing why, like you were waiting for the reflection to tell you a secret. You thought you were getting strange. You thought it was exhaustion, age, imagination, silly vanity. But what's happening is that your true identity is pressing to emerge, like dammed water pushing against the wall. Like a seed that's already cracked open inside its shell and is shoving dirt upward, even though from the outside it still looks like just still ground. What you see in the mirror is smaller than what you are, and what you are is demanding passage. The next sign is the hardest one to hear. It's the one the enemy spent the most time trying to get you to ignore. The fourth sign is sudden stillness in the middle of chaos. That moment, in the middle of a heavy day, in the middle of a fight, in the middle of pressure, when suddenly a peace settles down that has no external cause at all. Nothing got better on the outside, but on the inside, for a few seconds, everything went quiet, and you dismissed it immediately. You called it coincidence. You called it luck. You called it a good moment in the middle of a bad one. The enemy worked hard to get you to call it anything but what it is. Because that was my presence drawing near. That stillness was me approaching to name you. It wasn't chance. It was me. And every time you felt that and brushed it off, you almost heard your name. If that word hit you, write free in the comments. Don't write a whole sentence. Just that one word. Free. Because what you confess, heaven seals. Close your eyes for a second. Take a deep breath. Because what I'm about to tell you won't work if your attention is split. I want to tell you two stories. And they are, at their core, the same story. Yours. The first is about a guy named Simon, a run-of-the-mill fisherman. Impulsive, talked before he thought, promised more than he delivered, sank in the water when his faith ran out mid-step. Nobody would have bet on him to hold anything together. But one day I looked at that unstable man and said a sentence that changed everything. I said, "You are Peter, and on this rock I will build." Notice something? I didn't call him by what he was in that moment. Simon was sand. I called him by the rock I already saw inside him. I named him by the end, not the beginning, and it was the name I gave, not the history he had, that decided who he became. The man changed because the name came first. The second story isn't in the Bible, but its truth is the same. Picture a baby eagle that by some accident ended up inside a chicken coop. It grew up among chickens. It learned to scratch the ground. It learned to eat crumbs. It learned to flap short wings and make little hops just like all the others, and its whole life it believed it was a chicken. Sometimes it felt a weird ache when it looked up at the sky, a longing for a place it had never been. But it choked that down, because chickens don't fly, and it thought it was one. Until one day it saw an eagle slicing through the sky way up high, and something very ancient woke up inside it. It didn't learn to fly that day. It remembered. Because flight had never been taught. It had always been in its blood. It just needed someone to point to the sky and say, "That up there is what you are." Can you see the bridge between the two stories? Simon didn't know he was Peter until I named him. The eagle didn't know it could fly until it looked up at the sky. Neither one changed their nature. They both just discovered the nature they'd always had. Peter was already rock when he was still called Simon. The eagle already had eagle wings, even while it was scratching for crumbs. What was missing wasn't strength. It was recognition. And you are exactly at that point. At the point where the old isn't finished yet, and the new has already started. Where the chicken coop is still familiar, but the sky is already calling. You were chosen in secret, scratching the ground, not knowing that the whole sky was reserved for you. The 48 hours are your gaze finally lifting. They're not going to give you new wings. They're going to remind you of the ones you've always had. If this hit you, write one word in the comments. Write rock if you feel like you're being named by the end and not the beginning. Or write sky if you felt that longing for a place you've never been. Just the word. Heaven reads what you write. Let me pause for a full minute. Because some things need to be said slowly, with weight, one by one. First fact. The one who was chosen doesn't search. He gets found. You spent so long chasing a definition of who you are that you didn't realize it's not you who finds the name. It's the name that catches up to you. Second fact. All those signs you felt, the early morning wake-up, the discomfort, the strange reflection, the peace without cause, they're not random. They form a pattern. And a pattern isn't coincidence. Coincidence doesn't repeat with such precision. What repeats with precision is a call. Third fact. The pain of not knowing who you are was never a sign that you're too small. It was the opposite. It was the symptom of an identity too big for the small labels they tried to stick on you. Fourth fact. The 48 hours aren't a deadline for me. I don't need time. I named stars before you were born, and they're still burning. The 48 hours are how long your heart takes to stop resisting. The window isn't waiting for heaven to act. It's waiting for you to stop running. It's waiting for you to get quiet enough to hear what's always been said. And here's the truth that pulls all these facts into one. You spent your whole life looking for someone to tell you who you are. A boss who valued you. A person who chose you. A result that proved you. And none of it filled you up, because none of it could. The definition you were searching for on the outside only existed on the upside. The name was never in other people's mouths. It was always kept in mine. And that's why nobody was ever able to give you lasting peace about who you are, because it wasn't their job. It was mine, and I'm going to deliver. I never lost sight of you, not even on the days you lost sight of yourself. what you're about to hear now isn't a human title. It's not praise. It's not motivation. It's the name I call you when I speak of you in heaven. Listen, the first identity. You are the chosen one. I saw the moment you were set apart. And it wasn't halfway down the road, after you got it right, after you improved, after you proved something. It was before you were born. Before your first breath, your seat was already marked. You didn't get in line and get picked by lottery. You were handpicked, name and address, before the world ever saw you. What does that give you permission to do? To stop trying to earn a place that's already yours by selection. You can drop it right now. This instant. The exhaustion of proving you deserve to exist. All that frantic hustle to show your worth, to be useful so you'd be loved, to carry more than you should so nobody would leave you behind, it can rest. Because the seat isn't for sale. It's reserved. And a reservation isn't bought with effort. It's only accepted. You don't have to earn what already has your name on it. The second identity. You are the awakened one. I saw every early morning you woke up without understanding, and I want to tell you what that really was. It wasn't punishment. It wasn't insomnia punishing you. Each one of those wake-ups was training. I was teaching you to hear on a frequency that daytime drowns out. You complained about waking up, and I was teaching you the alphabet of a new language. What does that give you permission to do? To start treating your spiritual sensitivity as a gift, not a burden. What you thought was fragility, feeling too much, noticing too much, waking up too much, crying at what others don't even see, picking up what nobody said out loud, it's an antenna. It's high precision equipment. The world told you to be tougher, thicker, less sensitive. The world was wrong. I didn't make you fragile. I made you finely tuned, and the finely tuned hear what everyone else misses. The third identity. You are the carrier of the new. I saw something in you that few have. There is something that is only born into the world if it passes through you. Not through someone else. Through you. A piece of the future is wrapped up inside your life, waiting for the moment to come out. And that's why the enemy worked so hard to convince you that you were ordinary. Because ordinary doesn't carry any future. What does that give you permission to do? To start acting like someone who carries a calling, even before you fully understand that calling. You don't need to see the whole map to take the first step in the right direction. You don't need total clarity to start moving. Clarity comes while walking, never while standing still. Carriers walk before they understand. A woman carries life for 9 months without having seen the face that's forming. You carry your calling the same way, inside, in the dark, and it's already alive even before you can hold it in your hands. That's how the new is born. Right now, in the comments, the name of the identity that hit you hardest, the chosen one, the awakened one, or the carrier of the new. Write the name that made your chest tighten. And if this message is finding you in a way nobody else ever has, subscribe to the channel. Because heaven repeats conversations with those who sit down to listen again. From invisible to named. From confused to certain. From sand to rock. From chicken coop to open sky. Now I need to hand you something concrete. Because it's not enough for you to know you have a name. You need a path to hear it. And that path has a name too. It's called the 48 hours of the name. It's 3 steps, simple enough for you to remember, deep enough to change everything. The first step. Over the next 2 nights when you wake up, and you will wake up, instead of reaching for your phone, instead of grabbing for that screen light, stay in the dark and ask in silence, Father, what do you say that I am? Just that. No anxiety. No demanding an instant answer. Just the question. Cast out like an anchor into dark water. The second step. Write down the first word or image that comes without effort. The first one. Not the one you would choose. Not the one that makes sense. The one that shows up on its own. Out of nowhere, without you pulling it. Don't judge it. Don't correct it. Don't decide if it's good enough. Just record it. Because your mind is going to want to improve the answer, and the true answer almost always arrives before your brain wakes up enough to edit it. The third step. The next morning, take that word to the mirror. The same mirror where you looked for a face you recognized. Look into your own eyes, deep, like you haven't looked in a long time, and say that word out loud, like a declaration. Not like a question, not in a shameful whisper, like a fact, like a decree. You'll be giving back to the reflection the name that was missing from it. And the face you didn't recognize will slowly, gradually start to feel familiar, because now it has a name. And how will you know it worked? It won't be euphoria. It won't be chills or fireworks. The confirmation sign is a deep stillness in your chest, a peace that settles like dust after the wind stops. When that stillness comes, it's me saying, that's it. That was the name. If you're receiving this protocol, write received in the comments. Because what is declared received, heaven hands over. But I'm not going to let you go without warning you about something. In the next 72 hours, 3 things are going to be thrown at you. Not as a possibility, as a certainty. Because hell always reacts when a name is about to be spoken. And I'd rather you see them coming than get blindsided. The first is disbelief disguised as realism. It's going to show up with a sober, mature, sensible voice saying, this is all in your head. Don't make things up. Be realistic. Stop living in fantasy. Its weapon is looking smart. But listen, realism that kills your faith isn't maturity. It's fear dressed up nice. Don't fall for it. The second is the distraction of the 48 hours. And this one is sneaky. Suddenly, emergencies will pop up. Problems that came out of nowhere. People needing you at the exact moment, demands dropping right into the window when you're supposed to be in silence hearing your name. It's not a coincidence the chaos arrives now. It's strategy. They want to fill your schedule, so there's no room left for silence. Protect the early morning, no matter what it costs. The third is old comparison. It's going to point at others and whisper, look how far they've come, and you're still the same as always, in the same place, listening to a message instead of living. Its weapon is making you measure your inside by other people's outside. But nobody becomes an eagle by comparing their own flight to the scratching of chickens. And there's a fourth voice, the most dangerous one. Because this one doesn't come from outside, it comes from inside, with your own voice, pretending to be prudence. It whispers, if you were really chosen, you would have felt this before. It would have already happened. It would be clear by now. This voice wants to use your history against your future. But delay has never canceled a calling. Simon was sand for a long time before he was called rock. The time it took doesn't erase the name, it just delayed the recognition. Write protected in the comments. Because the decree has been sealed, and what is sealed by heaven, no tactic can undo. Now comes the most important moment of all. I want you to stop whatever you're doing. Put your hand over your chest, over your heart. Feel your feet solid on the floor. Close your eyes and breathe deep, slowly, like someone preparing to receive. There are things you're going to let go of now. Things you carried for way too long. Let go of the weight of living like you were invisible. Let go of the feeling of existing without being seen. Let it fall from your hand right now. Let go of the shame of not being able to explain who you are. You don't need to have the answer ready for others anymore. Let it fall. Let go of the exhaustion of trying to earn a seat that was already reserved in your name from the beginning. That weight was never yours to carry. Leave it on the floor, and now listen. Because your Father is going to speak to you. I was awake with you during every one of those 3 a.m. wake-ups. You thought you were alone in the dark, staring at the ceiling. But I was there, sitting right beside you, waiting for you to get still enough to hear me. The insomnia was never loneliness. It was a meeting. I scheduled those times with you, and that face you were looking for in the mirror, early in the morning, before anyone else got up. I'll tell you who it was. The face you were looking for was mine, looking back at you. You leaned into the reflection thinking something was missing from it. It wasn't missing you. It was missing you seeing that I was always looking along with you, from behind your eyes. And those words that came out too small, the night you tried to explain what you felt and gave up, I want you to know, I always understood exactly what you couldn't say. You never needed to find the right words with me. What was too big to fit in your mouth, I had already heard fully in your chest. Every sentence you swallowed, I collected. Everything that got stuck in your throat because nobody there was able to receive it, I kept. You never spoke alone, even in the silences where you thought no one was listening. And that line where you always ended up last, that place of being remembered after everyone else, I saw that too. And while the world left you for the end, I put you first. Before any other name, before any other choice, it was yours I spoke. You were last for many. For me, you were always the first thought. So today I cover you. I cover your mind, and I silence the voice that called you ordinary. The voice that repeated that you were just another one. Indistinct, unimportant. That voice no longer speaks over you. I cover your relationships, and I push away those who diminished you because they didn't know your size. And I bring close those who are able to honor the name you now carry. I cover your time, and I tell you, listen carefully, you are not late. You were never late. You are being named at the exact hour, on the exact day, in the window I myself chose. The delay was only appearance. Underneath, everything was right on time. And I cover your identity, that place that hurt the most, that spot where you bled in silence, not knowing who you were. And I seal it with the name I chose for you before the world existed. That seal no circumstance can break. You will no longer walk without a name. The time of anonymity is over. The time of living as a draft of yourself, waiting for someone to approve you so you can begin, is finished. I send you back into your life, carrying what you always had, and now finally know. You leave here different from how you entered. Not because something was added, because something was revealed. Now say it out loud with me, with your hands still on your chest. Say it like this. I was chosen, and from now on, I know who I am. Say it again, stronger. I was chosen, and from now on, I know who I am. Did you feel it? That stillness that came down? That was the sign. That was me confirming. It is done. What was delivered here has been delivered, and nobody can take it from your hand. Write "done" in the comments, not as a random word, as a signature, like someone closing a deal that heaven witnessed. And now think of one person, just one, that name that came to your mind while you were listening to this, someone who lives like they're invisible, someone who also doesn't know they were chosen before they were born. Send this message to that person, not to a group, to them, because just like this word waited for you, it's waiting in silence for the same person you just remembered. Come back tomorrow, because the conversation doesn't end here, and heaven has more to tell you now that you finally know how to listen. The next video is already waiting, just like this one waited, saved for the moment when you were ready. And in the next 48 hours when you wake up in the early morning, remember, it's not insomnia. It's a meeting. Don't reach for your phone. Reach for the silence and ask. I will answer. It is done. You are not the same person you were when this message began. You seek. You dedicate yourself. You do everything right, and yet abundance never comes. And the worst part? You start wondering if you're doing something wrong, if you're being heard up above, if it's meant for you at all. It's not a lack of faith or worthiness. It's a spiritual blockage that ordinary prayer alone cannot break. The Miracle Journal unblocks this in 21 days with a spiritual protocol that works exactly where your prayer doesn't reach. Along with the journal, you'll also receive as a gift the prayer guide and the Psalms manual with the most powerful sacred practices and texts to deepen your transformation. To claim your version of the journal, tap the link in the comments right below this video.